When the first time I got fingered, he was drunk and he passed out while his finger was inside me. I was 18 and I was like, Michael, and his hand was just in me. I just was like, all right, and I just kind of took it out and put it back. And I was like, do I have like the most boring pussy?
Does that feel weird to pull a living hand out of you?
It was really upsetting.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Audio Desires, an erotic audio platform dedicated to giving you the best oral sex you can have. With hundreds of sexy stories in 3 different languages and a sleek, user-friendly design, Audio Desires is the right fit to get you in the mood. Enjoy 50% off an annual membership or 20% off a monthly membership when you use promo code MANWHORE at audiodesires.com. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Shout out to all the sassy sadists and bratty bottoms. What's up, you West Village bears and uptown rope bunnies? This is Billy Procida, and you're listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Hey, welcome to the show if you're new, and welcome back if you're not. I'm happy to be in your ear holes today as you are listening to this. How's the day going? You doing the things? Getting stuff done? Did you have to stop to take a little squirt break? Hey, me too, sometimes. Usually comes around like 11 a.m., 1 p.m., somewhere in that zone. I get it. Hey, you'd ever try to take a procrastination break and you're like, I'm just going to take 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to rub one out, get my mind right so I can focus. And then 3 hours later, you're like, oops. Yeah, that happens sometimes. But hey, everybody, we've got a great show for you this week. I've got on fellow comedian Sally Ann Hall. A very imbibing episode, doing some shots of Jamaican rum throughout the show. I don't normally drink alcohol when I do the podcast, but, wanted to make my guest feel comfortable. I think the last time I drank with any sense of fervor on air was probably AVN 2019. I had 5 interviews that day. My 5th and final one was with that woman from the Woodhull Freedom Foundation. And first, it was like we were drinking whiskey. And then at some point, just I was drinking whiskey. And then by the end of the episode, I think I was just crying. So, happy that that didn't happen this time around. Dope chat going on. Also, another dope chat going on last Thursday, our hot movie night. Ooh, spicy, but gosh, y'all are fucking funny. Last Thursday, we had a great turnout, had like a baker's dozen of Patreon members show up in the champagne room to watch a porn together because that's what me and my people do. We watched Taboo American Style Part 1. I think Captain Funkasaurus is going to win Commentator of the Night. Dude, just all y'all just make me crack up while also being aroused. So kudos, way to go. By the way, shout out to hotmovies.com. Promo code MANWHORE should still get you 20 free minutes on top of the free trial or any package that you sign up for. Longtime supporters of the Man Whore Podcast, we love them. Hotmovies.com. I got a couple of fan emails to read y'all. First one, subject line, your newest fan. It starts, Hi Man Whore. Ooh, my name's Billy and I host the Man Whore Podcast. I am not Man Whore, but hey, that's okay. Hi, Man Whore. I've had this one really close friend since we were about 2 or 3, and he was one of my most loving supporters when I was figuring out that I was bi. He shared episode 438 with me a few weeks ago, and I'm finally getting to listen to it today. Episode 438, of course, is my naked episode with Fan Whore Chuck. That was a really dope one. About 10 minutes in, and I think I'm a dedicated fan whore, perhaps even a stan whore. Stan whore? Oh my gosh, Leo, thank you, but how did we miss that one, everybody? Did I drop the ball? Did you drop the ball? Someone missed stan whore how did it take 8 years? We never heard stan whore until now. Thank you, bud. I'm loving the show so far, and I'm hearing all these references I don't know about, like Peep Show and Champagne Room? Is there a link tree or something so I can learn more and start to get involved with the community online? Thanks so much, Leo. Leo, what a wonderful email to read this morning. I'm so glad you're digging the show. Very happy your friend recommended it to you. Word of mouth is still the number one way people discover new podcasts. So, hey, if you can't blast it on social media, tell two friends to tell two friends about the Man Whore podcast. Or should I say, tell two fuck buddies to tell two fuck buddies about the show. Anyways, you want to get involved with the community. It's one of my favorite things about what I do for work is the community that is built around the show. First one you frequently hear about is the Champagne Room. That is our super free, super sex positive Discord server. Is welcome to anyone who just needs to connect with some like-minded people. And we got channels about all sorts of topics. We got, channels about wellness and about gaming. We got channels about kink and sex toy recommendations. We even have a channel where you just share pictures of your pets. I sometimes share pictures of my baby niece because, to me, that's a pet. Until she's a more proper human. But anyway, and then of course there is also an episode discussion channel for fan whores who want to talk about the podcast. And it is free to join for anybody. And there is a link always in the show notes, but you can join us today at manwhorepod.com/Discord. You also just heard about one of the other ways we connect is in the Champagne Room, my Patreon members, we watch a retro porno together once a month, a new thing we do called Hot Movie Night. Maybe you'll be able to join us for next month's. And then the other big online community we have is the Peep Show. And oh gosh, I love that the Peep Show exists. It is a private group chat that has been going on for over 5 years. It is a private NSFW group chat, and we pretty much just share nudes, gifts, and compliments all day, every day. It's a beautiful, magical place. I mean, look, I don't care what we got people in their 20s. We got people in their 50s. We got big bodies. We got small bodies. We got different genders and sexual orientations in there. It's wonderful. You can drop a good butt picture at 9 a.m. and at 9 p.m. you're going to have a bunch of people who said, damn, that butt's looking good. Love the slow-mo. Great angle. It's just, very affirming place. And then shortly after we all compliment someone's ass, someone might say something like, oh, I'm having a really hard time. I have this doctor's appointment coming up, or I'm going through a breakup. And then the whole slutty, semi-naked community will come together to be like, oh my gosh, what can we do for you? We're here for you. DM me if you need something. So I love the Peep Show. Great space. And access to the Peep Show is granted to $10 and up members on my Patreon, which you can join at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Again, Champagne Room, free. Hot Movie Night is in the Champagne Room for patrons only. And the Peep Show is for $10 and up members on Patreon to join the group chat. And then offline, there's also Man Whore Con. We didn't do one this year. That should be returning next year. Unless one of y'all out there want to organize your own unofficial joint, happy to show up. But Man Whore Con is a great annual fan whore meetup. We typically have done out here in New York. Who knows where we'll do it next? And we just kind of come together and do a bunch of fun events, have sex positive conversations, and usually people end up taking their clothes off. Not at my direction. It just seems to be what my people do when you put them in a room together. Oops. So, Leo, welcome to Fan Whore Nation. Hope to see you online soon. This next one, subject line episode 402. Dear Billy, I just listened to your episode 402 with Dylan Birdsall, and my question, as a 50-year-old woman who is fat, is this. I always somehow end up with guys who are much younger than me and out of my league, and it's intimidating. I know you have extensively commented on why younger guys want older women, but why don't guys who are in our league and the same age ever seem to be interested? Your guest was discussing how he wants to be with someone out of his league, which sounds like exactly the thing that makes me sad. Smart, sexy, funny women don't always come in society's expected packages either. Well, gosh, don't we all know that one? I'm Pretty sure that's like half of the Bustle headlines. So we're in agreement on that final one. But, you know, let's see if we can tackle what's going on, because I'm a little confused. It sounds like you would prefer sexual partners who are less attractive and in their 50s, which is fine, but I'm confused because it sounds like you have what you seem to perceive as hot lovers. Like, built into your question is the idea that there exists one standard of beauty and that we are all using it to move up and down the pre-agreed upon leagues. And if my lack of abs, thin hair, and just barely above average dick have shown me anything, it's that the magazine cover standard of beauty is just not what everyone is actually using. Some people value, you know, of course, personality and chemistry above looks. Granted, I've struggled to enjoy being picked for those reasons and not for my body for a long time, because like I've had this fucked up fantasy where like I want to be objectively hot. Like I want to be someone that someone would jerk off to without knowing my fabulous personality, right? I have a joke where I say like, I want to have the kind of body where someone looks at me on the street and thinks, I gotta fuck that guy. Because right now I think I have more of a body where a chick looks at me and thinks, ooh, I could fuck that guy. First, let me hear his stance on Reese Witherspoon movies. You know, but then I started an OnlyFans at the heaviest weight in my entire life. I was like up in I'm in and out of the 230s right now, but I was like in the mid to high 230s. I may have even hit 240 pounds. And I learned that like I do have the kind of body that men and women will jack off to. The tens of thousands of dollars I've made on that platform prove it. So there are no fucking leagues. The only leagues there are the ones that exist in your head for the people who are in your league to fuck you as determined by you. You got to be the MVP of the Pro Bowl team of Julia's National Federation of Hotties. The younger men you're hooking up with or dating, you know, they're not out of your league. You click with them, they click with you. That's what matters. Forget the leagues. I've seen women at Hacienda, okay, who I don't necessarily find very attractive. And I've seen them getting it from dudes who look like fitness models. You know, those dudes don't have an ugly chick fetish, okay? They're just into that woman. And these dudes are into you. Take yes for an answer. And you know what? You're hotter than you believe. Yes, as a fat, whatever that word means to you, 50-year-old woman, you're sexy to the people who think you're sexy. And that's all that matters. Okay, your head is gonna explode if you try to delineate everyone into their proper leagues, because they don't exist. The only issue here is if these hot younger men aren't attractive to you. Like if you think they're hot and you want to fuck them, be happy they want to fuck you. Like there you go, that's it. And if you don't want to fuck them, then that's fine too. In which case, happy hunting for divorced dads with hairy backs and man boobs. And that's not a bad thing, because there are people who think that's a hot look. Hang in there, sexy. Stop trying to measure up. Just have fun. Enjoy. And if you want to send me your comments, your questions, maybe you've got a reaction to Julia's email here, you can send me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. You just might hear it on the show. Before I get to this week's guest, Sally Ann Hall, let's do a quick fan horror appreciation moment. Leland Burrell, hey buddy, thank you for supporting the Man Horror Podcast on Patreon. Go Pioneers. I very much appreciate your support. I hope you're enjoying the sunshine. Avoid the fires. And you too can become a member for as little as $2 per month. For just $2, you can support a poor podcaster trying to make it in New York City. You can support the work that I'm doing. Connect with your fellow fan horrors at patreon.com/manhorrorpodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manhorrorpodcast. Or download the Patreon app and find me on there. Sally Ann Hall, a funny comedian. I've known her for years. Met her going to her open mic way back in the day at South 4th Street Bar in Williamsburg. It is Sally Ann. It is not Sally nor Ann. Do not make that mistake. I have watched people regret it. But she's very funny. Very much enjoy her on the Twitter. And here's my conversation with Sally Ann Hall. The Man Horror Podcast is sponsored by AudioDesires.com. Truly like the Netflix of audio porn with hundreds of sexy stories at your disposal. Anyone and everyone can get a little flustered getting to work listening to some of the stories at audiodesires.com. I love the smooth, sleek interface that they've got going on. They right now are promoting little anthologies, little clusters. Like think of it as a sexy playlist of audio smut for you to listen to. Like they've got a whole playlist just of group sex stories, which starts off like it seems fun. Okay, a voyeur thing, a threesome thing, an orgy thing. And then there's one, The Coven. And so what happens is, you know, the way they title these things, like there will be a title like The Guy Next Door Part 1. And it'll say like the name of the voices being used, or like what kind of encounter is happening. Alice, an affair. Julia with Friends with Benefits. And then there's a story called The Coven, and it says it's with Sophia, Zoe, mythical creatures. Well, damn, I can't wait to hear what that 12 minutes of witchcraft sounds like. And Audio Desires is giving Fan Whore Nation a very, very special deal, truly an absurd discount. Use promo code MANWHORE for 20% off the monthly membership, or get this, 50% off the annual membership. 50% off for those of you who aren't great at math. It's half. That is half off an annual membership. Make your walk to work a little more exciting with a story from audiodesires.com. And don't forget to use promo code MANWHORE so they know who sent you. Now let's get to the show. Well, Sally Ann, cheers.
Cheers.
I haven't
Thank you
started.
for sharing, by the way.
Oh, of course.
I appreciate it, but like that's...
Sally Ann, I'm not like you. I can't drink that whole bottle on my own.
Yeah, well, I'm getting older. It's getting harder.
Even after all that bartending, like it's starting
I
you?
drank way more when I was bartending. Now, like I would do a bunch of shots in like a night and like be able to, like now I'll have like 4 or 5 drinks and I'm like, I'm wasted. I need to go home. I'm just tired now. I don't like to stay up late.
Yeah, I think there's something about 30s where like I can't wake up past 9 a.m. I want to sleep in.
That is not my problem.
That's not your problem.
I woke up at like noon today and I was like, nice. Nice. Pretty good. My job doesn't start till 1, so it's easy. It's nice.
But I mean, yeah, I am a lightweight. Like I'm a cheap date. I have to actually keep track. I just started like hooking up with this bartender, and I have to now like be really careful because she will outdrink me.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to you'll be casually drinking with a bartender, and that bartender will be like hard drinking,
Right?
And they're standing up straighter than you by the end of the night, and they're like, "All right, just counted my money and stuff. Here's my 17th shot," and they just stay up. That's what my husband's like. He's a very skinny man, but he like he can really drink, but when he gets drunk, he just kind of gets like quiet, but not like sloppy, just like. That's when you know he's like really drunk.
Right. See, I can be still fun and everything, but then I become fairly useless when you take me home. So it's just more like, you want to get me drunk? You'll be upset about this later.
You're going to have to feed me later.
Yeah. It's like, it's going to be a real toss up if I'm useful or not. So you have fun with that. You're going to have a fucking snuggle monster or like a mildly decent sexual partner. Your call. You want to risk that? Or you
Oh, that's right. The sex. Yeah.
Oh, you're like, what is that?
No, for me, it's just like, thank God for lube. And I can be like, you know what? You got a bottle. That solves my problem, but with guys, it is a little more difficult to maintain an erection. That's what when the drinking's involved. I'm checking my privilege here. I got pussy privilege. You can make a dry pussy wet easy. Yeah. You cannot make a soft dick hard as easy.
Yeah, look, I like to do all sorts of things, but like, when I'm drunk, even when I do the things that don't require a hard dick, I'm drunk. My coordination's not very good.
No, you're just,
Like the strong fingering hand turns into like a non-dominant fingering hand.
Dude, literally. I've had, have we started recording yet?
Yeah, sure.
So this sounds like the perfect time to tell you. I actually, the first time I got fingered, he was drunk and he passed out while his finger was inside me. I was 18 and I was like, Michael, and his hand was just in me. I just was like, all right. And I just kind of took it out. And, and I was like, do I have like the most boring pussy?
Does that feel weird to pull a living hand out of you?
It was really upsetting. I was like, and this was, again, the first time I had been fingered. So I was like, okay, I've never heard of this.
Right.
But, we were new to alcohol and fingering, and it was a deadly combination.
I mean, I'll be honest, that's a first that I've heard.
Oh, wow.
I've fallen asleep between someone's legs. Like, I've gone down someone like very quickly and like I snap out of it.
Doze off. I've definitely fallen asleep like during sex because like, especially when you're drunk, especially when there's a lot of drugs involved, there's a lot of like going in and out and like whatever. And I've definitely been with a guy who kept falling asleep during sex. But here's the thing. He kept insisting on being on top. And I was like, and he was huge. And I was like, stop. And I'd wake up and be like, nope. Okay, I'm ready to go. And that was crazy. I was like, I have too many falling asleep during sex stories to be normal. Like I need to just be with people who are like getting better rest.
I mean, but for the amount that you drink, I feel like it's like a norm. Like it's not I'm not surprised to hear you fall asleep during sex.
That's true. It's it's definitely after like a night of bartending, getting home at 5 a.m. and like, all right, let's go for round whatever, and then like it doesn't work.
I mean, I actually I've fallen asleep during sex, but like semi on purpose because like I wanted to. I don't know if you remember. I used to actually work this out at your open mic. I have I don't know, this like rape fantasy, but it's like her raping me.
Sure.
And so
those are mine too. I'm the rapey, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. And so like we were trying to figure out with the girlfriend at that time, like how can we like do I roofie myself? Like how can we accomplish this?
Oh, right, because the dynamic that's so interesting.
Well, because like I have to be able to like function, and then also fall asleep during it. So and then there's the whole like where does one even get roofies was like where the bit started going of like how because if you hit up your drug dealer, like if you ask for cocaine, that could be for anything. You ask for roofies, that's for one thing.
Oh my god, wow, that's so funny. Actually, I wrote a scene in a pilot about girls who were trying to like get roofies, and it was like her just being like, who has roofies? And like but then I found it's fun, I actually was roofied, thank you so much. And I everything turned out to be okay, but then I learned a lot about roofies, and they use ketamine. They just use ketamine. Rohypnol is outlawed. And that was what roofie is short for, Rohypnol. Slip him a Mickey or whatever. By the way, I have like a bit about it now, but I'm like, I feel like roofie and Mickey are just like too cute of words for poison. Like, oh, he roofied her. And it's like, I think poison. Because that's like, it's like, no, he poisoned her. Yeah. He's a poisoner. That's what he does.
A listener, when I would share that, I wanted to like, I was like sincerely thinking like, I don't know. I think maybe I get roofies and we'll do it that way. And I had people be like, do not do that. But they would like just get a strong indica, and then I started smoking weed, and then I had the dopest I'm falling asleep and coming back into it sex.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, I hear K-holes are really fun. Mm-hmm. You can get it, you know what I mean? You still can roofie yourself. But the thing about makes roofies and being drugged so hard to tell is that it basically just mimics the effects of a lot of alcohol.
Right.
Most people do not know that they have been drugged until like when, like for me, I didn't realize I'd been drugged until like my partner was like shaking me awake, being like, "Hey, you were drugged," and I was like, because you're so out of it, you don't know what's going on. And then I was like, "Oh," and I do have to tell this story because it is funny because he was like, "Where were you tonight?" And I had it was right after a comedy show, and I was just doing karaoke by myself for a couple hours.
By yourself?
Yes.
Is this the time I should introduce the very lonely Sally Ann Hall?
I was doing karaoke by myself. Hello. And my boyfriend at the time, he was like, "Oh, was there ever a chance that you like set your drink down?" And I was like, "Did I sing 5 fucking ballads in a row?" Yeah, there was a chance. Are you kidding me? Of course there was. I was leaving my drink everywhere. I'm surprised I haven't gotten roofied sooner doing that. But so I have to just recognize how hilarious it is, because it's like, that probably wasn't even sexual. They might have just fucking hated me. They're like, that girl's so annoying. She keeps singing all the songs. I'm going to roofie her. You know, I'll never know who did it. Never know who it was.
If I hear one more Whitney Houston song.
I swear to fucking this bitch just thinks that she has that kind of range. They're like, I don't want to fuck you, miss. I hate your Olivia Rodrigo.
And just before you pass out, you're like, why don't you want to? That's just
Literally.
That's how I envision you in said story. But Sally Ann Hall, hello. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
This is maybe the most I've talked about roofies this quickly.
You're welcome.
I imagine you might know a bit. Did you ever, like, as a bartender, because you're like I don't want to insult you, but almost lifelong bartender.
I've been a bartender for a long time.
I've been bartending since I was 7.
Yeah. I mean, I'm only 17, so
Sorry.
it is pretty much most of my life.
But did you ever have to, like, take, like, a course? Did you have to ever, like, learn about those as a bartender?
No, they don't. No. Bartenders don't know shit. We're stupid. They don't teach anything. It's garbage. The whole profession. But what I would do is, like, it's more about watching out for creepy dudes.
That's what I would
Those
get
sort
at
of things.
next.
So, like, yeah. You know, like, a girl would get drunk and a guy would carry out, or like, but usually it's the guy that she came with.
Mm-hmm.
Creep. I worked in a cigar bar for a long time, so that was like its own kind of like total creep guys.
Right.
And then I worked in this like piano gay bar for a long time, and that was a totally other type of still very creepy, grabby men. You know,
What kind of creepy, grabby men
Gay
did you
ones.
face at the gay bar?
well, I didn't face that.
Oh, you did? I don't know.
I mean, I have gotten grabbed, but
I hear about gay guys feeling like very liberal with like women's
Yes.
tits.
Yes, I definitely have had that happen. And you know, but luckily in the gay, it was more of a chance where I was also a singing bartender, so I could grab a microphone and be like, "This piece of shit just grabbed my ass. Everyone boo him." You know what I mean? I had a lot more autonomy than I did at the cigar bar, where if someone grabbed my ass, I'd complain to the bouncer, and then they'd be like, "Oh yeah, he's like owns a casino, so sorry, tough." You know, sorry that happened, but. Keep working.
Is it true that there's like a code word or code phrase you can tell a bartender to be like, I don't feel safe or whatever?
No, that's
No,
definitely
that's
not. Like,
fake.
I mean, I think you can just kind of give a little wink, but like, no, we have not all agreed upon a phrase. But what I'll do is I'll just pull her aside and go, "You all right? You need me to do anything?" Like, you know, I'll check in like that. Usually when he's not away, because I've definitely done that where a guy saw me talking to like his girlfriend about him, and he
And it's
got
like, she wants a threesome.
no, he was like, "What the fuck you just say?" And I was like, "Ah!" And then like the bouncer had to pull, like he like started, he was like gonna attack me. He was like,
shit.
"Motherfucker!" Yeah, that was crazy. I've definitely been like assaulted by drunk people a lot. I got choked by this old lady.
By an old lady.
Well, she wasn't old. She was like 60.
That's
She
pretty
was too
fucking
old to be acting like that. It was the beginning of my shift. She comes in. It's like a Monday. It is slow. And she's already wasted. And she's like, "Give me the microphone." Because it's like a piano bar. And I was like, "I don't have the microphone. You have to like talk to the pianist. I do the drinks." And she's like, "Give me the fucking microphone." And I'm like, "All right, well, I don't. Do you see a microphone, bitch?" Like, no. Like, okay. And I turn around and she put both hands and she grabs me by the throat, chokes me at the duplex. And the manager didn't do anything about it. They're garbage. Oh, actually, the owner was like, "Oh, I heard you were assaulted the other day. Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." So they do care. I'm sorry. It's crazy to me that they say they wouldn't. The duplex. It's owned by a straight guy.
Oh.
I say it's a gay bar. He does not.
Oh, really? What
Oh,
does
no,
he
the-
call it?
He says it's a gay friendly bar, but we're not
Has
a
he
gay
ever
bar.
been to it?
Oh, yes. No, he'll make money off of it. We like, oh, Pride Month, he'll put all the rainbow flags up, but as soon as like a customer who's a Trumper gets offended, he's like, "Well, it's not a gay bar anyway." So
I mean-
it's everybody. And I'm like, but it literally fucking is.
I don't need to see the rainbows to walk in the place and know it's a gay bar.
Well, that's the thing where I'm like, it has historically been a gay queer space for like over 70 years.
Yeah.
And to just be like, "Oh, well," like he doesn't mind being put up in all like
Sure.
the gay newspapers.
Like, I put-
all the gay publications. Anything that makes him money, he'll be gay. But if there's ever a problem, he has told the staff many times, it's not a gay bar.
It's such
Tony
in denial.
at the duplex.
He's so in
Historic
denial.
gay bar.
Histor-
They fired me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm biased. I was a singing bartender there, and I even married my coworker, a straight guy who's a singing bartender as well.
Well, that's a really great segue into, I was going to ask about like what type of hijinks before you became an honest woman that you get into, like as a liberally drinking bartender.
And a big ass whore. So yeah, I fucked a lot of people.
I didn't want to say it.
I definitely have always had a bad habit of like fucking coworkers ever since I moved to New York. I worked at like a hotel or restaurant, whatever, and I'm just like, oh God. I gotta stop. Fucking the door guy and then this guy and this guy. And then, like you fall in love with one guy, but then one guy falls in love with you and it's like so much drama, but then,
That doesn't even count the comics.
Oh my God.
It's like you have two very slutty worlds that encourage a lot of alcohol. Comedy land and being a bartender.
Well, why do you think I fit into comedy so well? Not like because I'm talented. I mean, like lifestyle wise, I just wanted to drink and have sex and go to shows. So that's how I got into comedy, because it was just like a fun social life. And now, unfortunately, I'm in too deep and I don't have any other skills.
Oh, no.
I was a bartender, but they fired me.
You did. Look. But
for knowing my worth.
You did snag a husband out of it, which is good to grab like as a parting gift.
I know, and it does feel disrespectful to be like, we work together on Monday nights, me and my husband Ryan, my husband. Yeah, and to be like, we're technically heterosexual, but not really. Think about it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, because of all the gay things we do
at the not gay bar.
Yeah,
which, by the way, I have put together a gay bar crawl, and like the duplex was on it. Like,
no, take it off.
No.
Take it off. Spend your money at real gay places. No, I mean, I'm bisexual, so like.
You are?
I mean, who the fuck isn't? My husband, actually, unfortunately.
You wish he was.
I'm working on it.
Okay,
I'm going to be like, just suck a dick. Just do it.
So is that, what's the hot vision of like a 2-guy bi-friendly threesome for you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
How is it, like, what's the vision?
Like, what you want to know, which hole they go in first?
Yeah. Like, what do you fantasize about your husband doing that he doesn't want to do yet?
Actually, he's not necessarily one of the 2 guys.
So you would rather have a hall pass? Can I just like go in the West Village and find a couple guys can I just watch? Can I just find a gay couple to watch?
Honestly, I was thinking about an actual situation that I'd be comfortable with, and honestly, I feel like if we went to a place where sex work was legal, safe, and whatever, a trusted establishment or referrals or whatever, I would totally be fine being like, you go into that room with however many chicks you want. I'm going to go into this room with these 2 hunky guys and we'll just high five afterwards. And like that to me is like the ultimate fan, like that, because he is not gay. He will not, he probably won't enjoy watching me get fucked by a dude or what, you know what I mean? So it's like, if he's not into it, I can't, I'm not really imagining like qualities that he doesn't have.
And with time, like I'm sure you can even get, I was in a gangbang in like 2015.
You say it like, you're like, I did my first tour.
I mean, I think that was maybe more my second gangbang tour, but yeah, actually I had the couple on the podcast. So the gangbang, and then time passes, they came back to New York. Hey, we're going to have a smaller gangbang. We'd like to invite you back. I'm like flattered. But then I was like, do you all want to do the show the next day? They say, sure. But in this smaller gangbang, the husband, who appears very heterosexual, who would claim to be very heterosexual, but I remember they started the gangbangs with like, everyone go in a circle and introduce yourselves. And like, I remember one or two of the guys mentioned they were bi. And at one point, like, I forget what I was doing with her, but he says, I just very distinctly remember hearing him go, hey, honey. And then I see her look over at him and he's got one of the cocks just in his hand. And he goes, honey, he gives like 3 good,
Oh
and then that was it. Cause he knew it would turn her on. He's like, I'm not like sucking cock as much as I'm putting a dick in my mouth because it's going to turn her on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, gosh, performative homosexuality, no one knows this better than women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be like, no one, there's a lot of straight, like porn actresses, for example, who do a lot of lesbian scenes. They're not necessarily lesbian, but like, what are they, you come.
You do the thing.
You come.
It's acting.
Yeah, I actually met a guy who did pretty much exclusively gay porn, but he was straight.
Yeah.
And really hot, actually. Love you, Elliot.
Well, so what I'm saying is, like, I'm sure in time you might be able to get him to be like, for you, once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I'm sure, but it would be like that. Like, all right, you know.
Here you go, honey.
And it's definitely not something that I like need actually that much. Like it's something that I'm like, I'll check it off.
Do you watch bi male porn or
No.
gay porn?
No.
I
I pretty much watch boy girl porn or gangbang. A lot of gangbang stuff. I do. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of gay porn. I do like clinically, like as an interest, and I'm like, oh, this is fascinating. But like when I'm masturbating, no, I don't. That's actually not like my go-to. It's usually pretty rough rape stuff.
Oh, hey. Back to it.
Yeah.
I would like to hear how you two first possibly inappropriately hooked up at work, but first I don't want you to suffer any DTs, so salute.
Thank you so much. Well, I wish that it was like we met at work. But I got him the job. So
y'all were already together.
yes, I got
How'd
him.
you meet?
Hinge, baby.
Hey.
Yeah, but when we met and I told him where I worked, the duplex, he was like, oh yeah, I go there and I sing all the time, but he has another piano bar that he prefers that he goes to.
And he's totally straight.
Oh no, as soon as he said this, I was like, fuck me right now. Like, oh yeah, no, the second, well, he studied musical theater, you know, and we knew a lot of the same people. So it was already just like, oh my God, my perfect man, you know, just like a gay man who happens to just be interested in women.
Yeah. Someone to save you from the drunken hookups of bartending and comedy life.
No, and what was fun is that he was like a drinker in a party or two. And so it was just like, But I will say, I did take on a second date. I did take him to a comedy show.
Oh.
One of mine.
One of yours.
Oh, well, one that I knew was going to be really good.
But you were on it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess we can meet on Friday. Is it weird? Can we do like this like little loft in this really cool like Brooklyn thing? And I was so nervous, but it was like all a bunch of like young, like Williamsburg, like hip people.
Did you
And
crush?
I didn't crush, but I did fine.
You did fine. Okay.
I did fine enough to where that like right after my set, I was like, let's go and make out right now. To be just like, yeah. But I did feel like very stupid. But I'm like, this is gonna impress the fuck out of him.
See me, I'm just more like I want to make sure they're impressed with me first before I let them see me do stand up.
Oh well, I'd had sex with him, so he'd seen it.
Oh.
Well, we had sex our first date.
Oh, yeah.
This was our second date.
That's not the only way I try to impress somebody, Sally. I could rest on my laurels, but I want them to like my personality too.
Okay, I definitely just I don't have this problem.
So y'all met on Hinge, and then you eventually got him the job. Okay.
And then yes, well, yeah, he was, you know, bartending, and it's actually really funny now. So when I got fired, they fired about half the staff for being awesome, and he was not fired. But I forbid him from going back in there, and so he's like, all right. So now he had to get a new job. He found a new job bartending, but he's like, yeah, one of my coworkers. He says he knows you. And then he told me this guy's name. And I was like, I do know him. And it's...
How well?
Okay, so he was a bartender at a comedy club that I would frequent as a comedian. No, they didn't pay me. But yeah, I got on stage. Anyway, so he asked me out. And I was like, yeah, let's go on a date. But right before we were supposed to meet up, I had to do a show that was like also a drinking contest. That obviously I fucking won. So I'm smashed when I show up to this date. I am so drunk. This very nice guy. And I take him to the duplex because I'm like so drunk and I could drink for free there. And I was just like, whatever. Blah, blah. And when he was in the bathroom, I kind of forgot where I was, what I was doing. And I just took a cab and I went home.
Wait, you ditched him?
Yeah,
No, what?
at my workplace on a date while
Did
I
he
was
see
drunk.
you leave?
No, he was in the bathroom. I just was like, oh, I gotta call this cab. I'm drunk. And I just didn't. I just went home.
Did you like you drunk and you forgot you were
Yes.
even on a date?
Yes, 100%. 100%. I do not. But my boss saw me and he's like, oh, so he had to go tell this poor guy who comes out of the bathroom who's waiting for me. He's like, so, Sally Ann's gone?
Like she died?
He's like, no, she just went home. Yeah. So, and so I told my husband, he goes, wait, that's the guy you did that to? I'm like, yes, that's your coworker. That is how he knows me.
Oh no.
So he's like, well, that's so funny. But he didn't tell Ryan, he didn't say anything. He was like, oh, Sally Ann, you know what? I know her. And, yeah. So anyway, they're really good friends. And I think that's very funny. And yeah, he's like hilarious, amazing. But yeah, so my legacy, it's hard to feel like an honest woman when you keep getting reminded of, all of your past behaviors.
I would call them accomplishments.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
To be fair, we're still on great terms. He actually, the next day, he came to my work because I had to work the next day at the duplex. And he brought me food because he thought I might be hungover. I was. And this is when I was like, I don't deserve you. Like, you need to run far away. Like, you are a nice guy. I am a piece of shit. And it never worked. And I think it worked out for the best.
Well, as I pour that, you shared something very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to see how you would react to the discomfort. I hope you're okay.
Oh, no, it's very sweatily. It's always going to be that.
Okay. So you shared something interesting before we got started. Put it down so it's not over the.
Oh, yes.
I don't trust my pouring skills like yours.
Yeah, you're not a
I'm
trained professional.
I'm not a trained professional drinker or drink pourer like you.
Hey, retired now.
I gotta keep it easy because I have to tell bad jokes in a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
But
not doing shit tonight.
I envy you. I have to wait like another hour and a half before I can put things in my body that make me incapable of being funny. I just got a little
It's
bit more
never
time to get.
stopped me.
I know. But you
I like a challenge.
so you and the Hubster, you said been together like 4 years, and monogamously, I would take it. Once it was a serious thing for you.
Yeah, I
Right.
would say monogamous. Kind of just by default.
As many do.
Yeah, we just we moved in after a couple months very quickly, and this was my first like real relationship that lasted more than a couple months. That was like monogamous. Most of my relationships have been like maybe we would date monogamously for like 3 months and then we'd break up and I'd sleep
Right.
with them for the next 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, there are these men in my life who I'm like, we technically weren't really, our relationship was very small, but we did non-monogamy for
Sure.
a long time, so there's a lot of overlap. So non-monogamy was what I was used to, but that was also, I didn't really have like a primary,
It was like
person.
it was less non-monogamy as much as just like the relationship never really escalated to something like where you would be beholden to each other or had agreements.
No, it would always
Yeah.
explode before that. And then that's another thing where it's like, once I like someone, once I like have good sexual chemistry with someone, it's really, I can break up with them, but I can't stop fucking. Like, I can't be like, I will always be like at 4 a.m., like, let's do it. And then cry and then be like, whatever, you can date whoever you want and then like date whoever I want,
Right.
but then cry and wish that I was the only one.
Fellas, there's your motivation to stay up till 4 a.m. just in case.
Oh, I can't stay up that late anymore. That's a young woman's game.
Girls, same. I got asked to volunteer at the sex party this upcoming weekend to like be a guardian or whatever from like 4 to 5.
You were asked to volunteer at a sex party?
They have those.
I know, but like,
Yo,
I'm sorry, that should be a paid fucking gig.
Well, you get a free ticket.
You get free.
Yo, the ticket's like $100. Ain't like shit ain't cheap, right?
So
it's
it's
like
a work study.
it's a fuck study.
I have an internship at the sex club.
Well, they'll be like you take like an hour shift as a guardian or whatever, right? And then you get the whole night.
and then you can take out your dick.
I mean, I got my dick out regardless. It's just like it's
Okay.
The guardians are for like if something happens or
Oh,
like
of course.
right. So they offered me the 4 to 5 a.m. shift, and I was like, look, I would love to give back to my community. I would love to volunteer.
Of course.
But I'm 33 years old. I don't remember the last time I was at the orgy at 4 a.m. I'd hate for someone, God forbid it happens. I'd hate for someone to face some traumatic situation, need to come to me for support or mediation, and I'm like dozing off. I'm like, I think I can handle 2 to 3 a.m. tops.
I love how it's like, first off, 33 is not old. You're talking as if like you're a 50-year-old man.
I'm having trouble staying up till 4 a.m.
but it's very funny also that just the idea that you would fall asleep at a sex party, like, when you just doze off, they're not interesting enough to keep your attention. It's like you're the type. I don't know. Maybe I'm
It
just
starts
mad.
to die down around 4 a.m.
I'm honestly,
Sally Ann.
I'm taking out my anger on Michael for falling asleep with his fingers in me when I was 18.
Hey, that was like 15 years ago. Come on. Sorry, 2 years ago. My bad.
I'm like, shut the fuck up. No, that was 17 years ago, dude. Michael, if you can hear me. Oh, cut that out. Sorry. That's probably still his name.
Sorry, I don't know if she now has changed her name to something more appropriate. Who knows?
No, I saw he married a woman. She was really fucking cool.
You were sharing about how you all you were closed and then you opened the thing and had your first threesome with the hubster.
So we've been technically monogamous, and then the pandemic happened and we were trapped together, and it got very real and very close. But we always kind of were like, at some point, we're going to want to fuck other people. I've always been very open about that. And he's like, yeah, I've never really done anything like that with other people, but like, sure, or whatever. So it's always been like on the table, but we weren't just like, we're not acting on it.
Something to do as an event, but not a lifestyle.
Well, to be like, we would just get into conversations about, because we have friends who are in open relationships and friends who are like in such tightly closed relationships. It's like insane. And I'm also I also get drunk and I make out with girls sometimes. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I remember I made out with my friend and who I do have like a sexual history with. And then I was just like, and then I remember the next day I was like, oh my God, I made out with like my friend yesterday. Isn't that so funny? And he was like, haha. And then I was like, oh shit, do you care? And he's like, no. And I was like, okay. So it just kind of felt right.
Uh-huh.
And then it progressed more recently, as like approaching our wedding. I was like, we have to fucking do a threesome. Like before we get married, like we've not had any kind of like group sex thing. But
is that like the new requirement before we get married these days? You gotta have...
No, but I was like, we're fun. I'm fun and flirty and like, come on. What we've never done anything. Let's do it. Like, let's fucking come on. So, well, what happened first is, so we found a friend that, I reconnected with, and she is very sexy, and she was like a dominatrix for a long time. And I knew her a long time ago, and we have since gotten, really close and hung out. And she was talking about how she does threesomes. And I was like, wait, would you fuck my husband? Maybe and she was like, totally. And I was like, stay right there. And I like run over to Ryan and I'm like, would you fuck her? And he was like, yeah, totally. And I was like, yes! Ah! And I'm like, let's have a threesome. And here's the thing. That was like 7 months ago. We could not schedule to save our lives. Like it just became an issue of like Thursday. I can't do Thursday, blah, blah. So it just never happened. And
what were some of the scheduling difficulties that arose?
It was just like, I don't know. Just like, oh, Monday. Oh, I can't. Oh, she's going out of town. It was just like, this
is not like a rare thing. That's why I
no,
asked.
like I'm just like, oh fuck, like when are we ever going to be whatever? And then I just kind of gave up on it, being like, all right, well, maybe it's one of those things that you just say that we did and we don't actually have to go through because it seems like a hassle at this point. And but but then there came a time where I ran into her just out partying in Brooklyn, the same girlfriend, and I was like, oh my God. And we were like, just started making out. And I was like, oh, let me see. So I call my husband. I'm like, hey, is it cool if I like fuck my friend? And he's like, yeah, go ahead, have fun. And I was like, awesome. And we, hooked up, had a great night, hung out all the next day, smoked pot, came home, and it was totally cool, chill, fine.
Have you hooked up with women past like drunkenly making out before?
Yes, I've had sex with a lot of women, but I have not since dating him.
Okay.
I was always free to do what I wanted. So I was like, I get you. This is still sex. Okay.
Okay.
But he didn't mind. And then I was like, okay, so like, I wouldn't mind if he did it either. Okay. Yeah. This is where things got a
You're
little
like,
hairy.
this sounds right to say, but I don't know if I feel it.
No. So, not long after that, I am in this weird situation. I get actually a friend of mine, a female friend, kind of makes a move on me that I was like totally taken off guard because I'm like I'm about to get married, blah blah blah, and but I've been telling her that I had a threesome experiment or like talking about it, hooking up with other girls and stuff, but I know that like she's like a relationship person,
right.
And I'm like I'm a casual like what terrifies me in polyamory is the intimacy. And I'm like, oh, you mean I have to keep up a whole No. Like for me, it's something really hard. Like once the sex is over, like it's with women or someone who I'm not romantically attached to,
right.
I'm like, all right, bye. And I just get really like, okay.
I have to go to the bathroom and now I'm going to call a car.
Yeah, I never really know how to behave. I always want to be nice and respectful, but it's not like, oh, you're gross now. It's
Sure.
more like, I don't know what to do. But like, I did have a threesome. I remember with like my friend with like a guy, and then after like she was like taking a shower, I kind of like went in to kiss him, and he was kind of like, oh, whoa. And I was like, oh, is that not it's over now? Okay, it's okay. And then ever since then, I've been just like so afraid of being like, you gotta ride the vibe, and when the sex vibe is over, it's over.
Right. But he can also give you a kiss. Like he probably was just railing you. Like you could do me a courtesy of a smooch.
I hated that guy. He sucked. Anyway, but it was just like I just don't feel like I have that sort of like sexual emotional intelligence of like, what's the vibe now? I've always been very that freaks me out. So I mean, alcohol always made it a lot easier being like, we're here, we're drunk, let's do it. But so anyway, she came on to me and I was like, no, I'm so sorry. Like that's not,
right.
This isn't, I thought we were friends. And then she kind of ended the friendship. And I was really upset. And she left and I was like, I need Ryan to come home right now because this thing just happened and I'm so upset. And instead of coming home, he calls me and goes, okay, so you know how you had sex with someone? Can I have sex with someone real quick? And I was like,
Oh.
who is it? And he goes, you're the bartender at this bar that I'm a regular at. And I was like, oh, so like some girl you're going to see all the time when you're wasted. And I was like, no, I didn't like it, but I didn't tell him no. I was like, fine. And he was like, okay, bye. And I just started crying. And I was just so upset. Just horrible. Was like, and then I was mad at myself because I'm like, I thought I was just like cool, freewheeling, love type hippie person. And now here I'm getting all traditional and possessive and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. And you don't like that about yourself?
It would surprise me because I didn't.
You thought you could be like, yeah, sure.
I didn't think it would bother me to imagine him but like, I was like, oh, what? Who the fuck And so he calls me back and he says that he's coming home. And I was like, oh my God, like he felt the hurt in my voice. He's not going to go through with it.
Oh no.
Turns out she changed her mind.
Oh.
I know. Poor my husband.
Oh.
So it didn't end up happening. But when he came home also, so he said like a bad night, got all ramped up. That didn't end up working out. She was tired. She just wanted to go home. And then he comes home and and I start laying into him being like, I don't think we should do this open relationship. I'm not comfortable. And he was just like, fuck, and it's like, that's not fair. I'm like, sure. But like, and then I've been having to face like, oh, is it internalized misogyny that when I have sex with girls, it's not a big deal. But when he has sex with, because he's romantically attracted to them. Oh, because I'm not romantically attracted to them means I see them as less as people. Oh God, am I not even like a proper bisexual? Oh, there's a lot of things that
What kind of gender studies minor are you?
It was Major, you
I'm sorry.
fucking cunt. You fucking... How dare you?
But, hey,
The biggest aspect of my personality, you just... erasure.
I mean, look, it used to be 20% of your set. It's just been a minute.
Yeah. Oh my God.
South 4th Street Bar was a while ago.
Hey, it's a whole new bar now. It's a whole different thing. I did a show there.
At least I remember you studied that in some capacity. Because,
Yeah.
like any mouthy feminist, you did not shut up about it. No kidding.
Well, obviously, I shut up too much. You thought it was a minor. Anyway, I'm disappointed in myself. I'll send you my thesis later. You can read it.
I can't wait.
No, I.
So you argued and you were like, I don't think we can do that.
Yeah, and then obviously, and then we struggle for being like, okay, so what does this actually mean for us? We don't really know. And I was mad because I honestly didn't think that jealousy and possessiveness was going to happen to me.
Sure.
I was like, fuck. And I just felt like a fraud that I'm like, oh, I'm just this like pitiful little trad after all. Ugh. But then I was thinking about it, and the idea of him having sex with someone else actually always did excite me because I was witnessing it in my fantasies.
You're part of it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like I need it to happen at my behest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be like, you, her, go. Like I need to like, and that. So when we actually got drunk with my friend who I hooked up with.
The Dom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We were all hanging out, and I was like, let's do the threesome. And they both were like, it's not a good night. And then someone offered us acid, and we were like, okay. And then, but it wasn't just acid, it was also Molly. So that was the first time I candy flipped. And you bet your ass we all had a fucking crazy ass threesome that night.
Wait, first, what's it called?
Candy flipping.
Candy flipping. That's
It was
when
acid and Molly.
Sorry, I don't do any of these drugs, but I'm trying to learn.
It's you will not go to sleep, and you will be so horny. And so,
Candy flip.
but I will say that was like more fun. That was the most fun threesome I've ever had. Like that shit. I remember she'd be like sucking his dick, and I would look at him and be like, that was so fucking cool. You're getting your dick sucked. Like I was just like
All of a
hyped.
sudden, you turned into like a 21-year-old bro.
Yes. I totally just like when they started, like, they were like, should we start kissing? Because they were like, are you okay with it? And I was sort of like, oh my God. Oh, you guys are kissing. Oh! Like, I like had no chill. I acted like a freak. But it was really fun. It was really cool. And we had to stop because we had to go home and walk the dog. And that made me feel very old. But so that was a great time. So I'm like, okay, I can do.
You've tested a couple bounds. Like, okay, you alone last minute, probably not. Us last minute with somebody together, that's probably in a realm of possibility. Candy flipping, great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much about like the last minute, the planning. It's more like who this, you know what I mean? Who is it? And so now, but here's the thing, because since then we have both gone into this bar, and I have looked at this girl, and then I was like,
The Dom or the one that he didn't hook up with?
the one he didn't hook up with.
Okay.
And so now every time we go in the bar, I do this fun thing where I go, oh yeah, you here to see your girlfriend? And he goes, every time. Really? And so
It's just gonna be like that until you all fuck her together.
exactly, she's really cool. But it's like, you know,
I like how you were like, I'm jealous of her, but like she's also so cool.
well, here's the thing. I can't be like actively jealous. Like when I'm jealous of someone, it's not like I don't like hate that. I'm not like, what a fucking bitch. What a stupid, ugly cunt. Like
Right.
I've never been like that. I'm always like, he's so much thinner than me. I bet she's really cool. Like it's always been, I've never directed my anger at
Sure.
a woman for a man not liking me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if she's a bitch, then yeah. But like, so it's always been about like me feeling inadequate in some way. And
Sure.
if I think just me being part of like a sexual situation, I think that will like, that gets rid of the jealousy because I'm not wondering what's there. And I'm honestly, it's not even about like the sex. It's about what happens before or after. And I'm like, you know, does he kiss her afterwards? Like, do they cuddle? Are they doing, you know what I mean? Like I need to know. I just want to know the vibe. I want to see. Also, I want to make sure he's not being like a jerk. Like, not like he would be, but I always feel like You know, I thought about women who like.
You want to make sure that your man is well behaved.
Well, I feel like a lot of men who are like, yeah, my girlfriend says I can fuck whoever I want, and they takes that as like to still like be shitty to women. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, you should take, you know, like I'd want to be like, be upfront, tell them you have a girlfriend. Don't, you know what I mean? Like not shit like that. And I'm sure he would.
I had a guy write in recently. He's like 40 and he's been with like him and his wife are basically their only sexual partners, give or take one or two, right? Like only people they've been with long time and they're considering opening up the relationship. And his concern, which I found this sweet, he didn't have this like, yeah, he's excited to like at the potential of this, but he's like, he's not going like, yes, I'm excited. I get to get my dick wet. He's concerned he's going to be bad in bed with these other women because he hasn't had experience outside of his wife. Yeah. And I was like, oh, his concern is like, I want to make sure I can please these other women if I get to hook up with them. I'm like, that's the way to do it. That's the way. Don't be just like, yes, I get to get laid. Be like, how are you gonna bring something to the table?
Yeah. Is the
will these other women be just as excited to fuck you?
Will they be happy that I've joined their ranks? Yeah.
Or they're gonna be like, go back to your wife.
That's really good.
Don't disappoint more than one woman in this world.
That's so funny.
John, buddy, I'm sure you're gonna do fine. You know, just sign up for Beducated with promo code Manwhore and you'll learn some things.
Take Viagra. Come on. It's fine.
But so, and what has been the aftermath of that threesome? Like, are things good? Because you said there was also some drama.
Yeah.
Like, where do you stand now?
So we decided that, so that was right before our wedding. And we were like, okay, we got threesome out of the way. And I was like, I was just like, I feel like this has just gotten a little too complicated, a little too messy right now. And our lives are up in the air. You know, we got fucking fired. We were getting new jobs. I started doing fucking cruise ships. So I'm like leaving all the time now. And so it's like, okay, let's just, for the first year of our marriage, like, let's just keep it simple.
We have till death do we part.
Exactly.
For right now.
Yeah. And I'm like, right now, I'm just a little bit weird. And
until you both get really drunk and go like, well, I'm a threesome.
Or, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm sure one day, you know, if he, you know, like I would not have a problem with him, like hiring a sex worker or something. That would not, because it's not a threat to you. It takes all the emotional complications and like, social awkwardness out of it.
And you know he can't afford to go so often that it interferes.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, I'm like, actually, I said on his bachelorette party, I was like, you are allowed to get a blowjob. Like you are allowed to buy a blowjob. And so afterwards, I did ask him, and he goes, it was too expensive. And I'm like, sorry, babe. Oh yeah, also because I don't like to give blowjobs. Certainly, especially not to completion. What am I, a fucking saint? Are you kidding me? No. So like, if he wants to pay for that, I'm like, yeah, that is a service. That is hard labor. You should pay for that. You should leave it to professionals because I'm gonna be just sitting here like.
You're like, I would do it if you paid me.
And again, he can't afford it. So no, I wouldn't. No, I'm not I don't enjoy, like, I can't do, like, a good deep throat. I have a very sensitive gag reflex.
Same.
So it's like, okay. So it's like the more they're enjoying it, the more I'm like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That it's like, you know, I don't feel like I'm sexy. Like, well, like when you're going down to the dick, you're like, oh yeah, this is me, my time. But then you start and you're like, oh. And he doesn't, I don't know. I just feel like my sex appeal goes out the window when I'm trying not to barf on a huge dick.
Well, Sally Ann, I do hope that there are enjoyable threesomes that don't cause a lot of drama in y'all's future.
Oh, no. And that one was actually a very positive, very positive experience.
Well, may there be less drama for the other attempts. And thanks for coming on the show. One more shot for the road.
Yes.
Woo, that's the most I've drank on this podcast.
Oh, my God. Oh, woo.
Shout out to Appleton Jamaican rum that I got duty free on my way back from Jamaica with a woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with, but broke up with me, weeks later. Sally Ann.
Oh, my God. And on that note,
where can people find you if they want to hear more of you?
Oh, my God. We have so much to unpack after this. Okay, you can find me, Sally Ann, at me Sally Ann. That's my handle.
Meet?
At me Sally Ann. Me. I just had a tweet go viral. Very happy about it.
I saw. Congrats. Mazel.
Thank you. I'll just say real quick. Me and my husband, we were like, let's like pretend we're like on a first date and like go to this bar. It was like our 1 month anniversary, and it was like last minute. We're like, okay, let's just be fun. And my husband decided to be a fucking dick, and he decided to play this character because I was like, let's be in character, not break character. He's an actor, whatever. He chose to be a Mormon who didn't believe in sex before marriage. So literally we're having this whole conversation, and we do like, oh, hi, are you? Oh, yeah, hi. And we sort of drinks, we go sit down, and he's just doing his stupid fucking monologue because I'm trying to make it sexy and he's making it a joke. So I'm literally like glaring at him across the table like, fucking hate you, Samson. And then when I went to the bathroom, this like woman pulls me aside and she's like, oh my God, is that a first date? And I was like, oh, yes, it is. And she's like, it is so funny how much you fucking hate that guy. And he has no idea. And I just start like laughing, and I gotta tell you, I've never been more happy in my life than in that moment. I was like, oh, and I was like, yeah, he's pretty clueless, right? And she's like, oh my God, is there going to be a second date? And I'm like, well, it depends on how the sex is. And they went, ah! And they started screaming. And I just like went back to the table, and I'm just like, the most amazing thing happened to me. And he was like, oh, you're not mad anymore. And I'm like, no. Totally turned my mood around. It was very, very funny. And so we left together, and I like looked back at them and was like winked, like, I'm going to do it. And they're like, ah! So funny.
And you were like, show me that magic underwear.
Yeah, actually, he doesn't know a lot about Mormonism, and he had a lot of inconsistencies, and I was correcting him.
Oh, that's very cute. Very kind of you.
I was like, that's actually not what they believe. So,
well, Sally Ann, this was great. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing some shots with me. And why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me your alcohol that I'm sure you were saving for someone special. I apologize.
I got dumped a couple months ago. There ain't no one special right now.
All right, pour the next
Sally
one.
Ann, I'm sorry, but at this present moment, you're the someone special. So thank you for sharing it with me.
I accept. Thank you.
Can you stick around a little bit? I got a little teaser for you if you do. A little reward for sticking it through to the end. I'm going to be teasing my bonus episode from earlier this year with Venus Cuckoldress. Apparently y'all fucking loved that episode, a very popular episode. And she did a bonus episode just about the bulls in hot wifing. So stick around to the end of these little bit of announcements, and you'll hear a tease of that. Folks, what did you think about Sally Ann Hall? What did you think about her story? Have you had a threesome go awry? I would love to hear about it in the Champagne Room. Connect with your fellow fan whores in the episode discussion channel about this week's show, or join us for conversation in any of our channels. Introduce yourself today at manwhorepod.com/Discord. You want to respond to this episode a little more privately or a little bit more robustly? Do you have something you want to say to me directly? Got a question you need some help with? Shoot me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. The hot movie night was so much fun. I hope more of you will join our Patreon community so you can join us next month. I very much appreciate the support of all of you who have found a couple dollars in your pocket each week to throw my way. It's a great way to say thank you for the endless hours, the hundreds and hundreds of hours of free content I've given to you. And not for nothing, the hundreds of hours of bonus audio content that are behind the paywall. Become a member today. Support the whore that you love at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And if you don't got $2 in your pocket, but you want to support the show, hey, tell two fuck buddies to tell two fuck buddies about the Man Whore Podcast, wherever they listen to audio. Yes, even Amazon Music. Even though this isn't music, I'm on there, baby cakes. I hope you have a good week. I hope you come hard. I hope you try something new. I hope you listen to an Audio Desires story that makes you wiggle your butt a certain way. And of course, as always, I hope you stay slutty.
I enjoy big dick that's really hard because I like to feel like that. Most women, it's an overwhelming feeling when they are completely like filled and like it's like your cervix is getting beat up. I love that. So I'm a bit weird like that, but that's just what I enjoy. So it's got to have that. If it doesn't have that, then I'm not going to be loud as fuck.